Morning, everyone. Welcome to our live webinar of eIMMIGRATION. My name is Vanessa. On behalf of Cerenade, welcome. Today we're learning the administrator portal, the settings and customizations. You should have received a training when you started with eIMMIGRATION on how to set up the system, but it's always good to have a refresher. And today we're going to learn again what's the admin portal and what you can customize from the admin portal. As a reminder for those who have been here before or for those who are new, this is being recorded. We record every webinar on Fridays and we upload to our YouTube channel. We also have a PowerPoint presentation that you can download. If you click on go to webinar, go to handouts, and you should download my PowerPoint presentation. So let me share. Okay. So today, again, like I said, we're learning the admin portal. What is the admin, what it's for, and I'm going to cover some of the areas. I really cannot cover everything in 1 hour, but we suggest that you guys download, again, this PowerPoint presentation because I put links that you can click on, and it's going to help you a lot. After the webinar, we're going to have a Q&A, but throughout the webinar, you can send me questions, okay? There's a chat, and you can message me as we go through the webinar. Okay, so when you get your site and they give you your access, your URL, username, and password, on the top right corner, once you log in, you should see Settings, Administrative Tools. So that's how you can access the admin portal. In fact, I always recommend to have them both open, the administrator portal and the regular caseworker portal. The way I do that is by clicking with my the right button of my mouse, and I open the link in a new tab. The reason why I recommend opening both portals at the same time, especially if you're new, is because it's a lot easier to just go back and forth, and you can access the admin for customizations and then come back for the regular portal. Okay. All right. So what is the admin? Think of it like your back office. The administrative portal is going to be just for customizations. You're not going to create cases from here. You're not going to access clients. This is just for customizations. There's a lot that you can customize, especially if you are on Plan C with all the modules. It really depends on the package that you have. For example, if you don't have billing, then you won't see billing items. If you don't have reports, then you don't see reports over here. Okay? I mean, custom reports. So again, the administrative portal is just for customizing the system. Let's start with the basics. Departments, that's your location or your company branch. You can have more than one. This is how you separate clients and cases by departments. A lot of attorneys, either they have a colleague, they share the system, or an attorney may have different services. We do have people who prepare forms. They're not necessarily attorneys, and they do notary services, translations, and tax, like different areas, again, of the business, and you can separate them by departments. Today, we're going to also learn how you can create categories or even program types so that you can separate them, as well as your processes, the type of matter. So I'm going to be doing this back and forth, because I want to show you not only how you customize it, but why. What's the purpose? Let me take you back to the main window. When you guys create a client or a case, you see here this drop-down menu for the matter or process. This is what we're going to learn today, how to customize, as well as the type of categories: family-based, employment, pro bono, taxes. Like, again, you can create as many as you want. Type of programs. This is where you select your department. So today we're going to learn how to customize all these drop-down menus. Now, let me take you back to the admin. The department, when you got your site, it should have set default. You are supposed to edit and modify the name of the company, right? So again, like I said, you can add as many departments as needed, as long as you enter the information. This is what transfers to the forms. So If you move, if you change addresses, this is where you need to go to modify or update the email address or the address, the phone number, and of course the name of the company. Then let's talk about users. Sometimes you say, hey, Cerenade, I need another license for my paralegal. If you add a caseworker here for the paralegal, interpreters, receptionists, like you have different types, you can decide, okay, this paralegal should only have access to my cases in California, not in New York. Or, like you can separate the access, you can customize it by each person. Maybe my receptionist should have access to these offices, but she's not going to access the cases or billing or reports. So I'm going to show you how you can limit the access. Remember, when you create an account for a caseworker, you need to pay for that license. That's when you click here, create account. It means I'm going to have this paralegal log in and use the system. But what if I am an independent contractor, a paralegal who works for multiple attorneys? I'm going to create an attorney profile with his information, his department, so I can separate his cases from mine. I'm going to put the attorney's information, his state bar number, his jurisdiction details, his mailing address because it's different from mine. But I'm not going to create an account because he's not going to use the system. I'm not going to pay for that license. I'll just save it. That's very important. If again, the person, the paralegal is going to access, then that's when you click create account. But if you haven't contacted Cerenade, if you haven't asked for that extra license, you can't create the account. I suggest that you just click save, contact us, we'll enable the license, charge for the prorate amount, and then you can click create account. And that's when you're gonna give them the username, the password. This is where you select, well, the paralegal can only access the system Monday through Friday from, I don't know, 7 to 7. I can limit the access. Maybe there's an intern who's only going to be working here until May. So I'm just going to set the expiration date in case I forget. So again, you guys have the power as an administrator to select which rights, access rights you give them. Are they going to be admins as well or not? So you can block or allow certain features. Are they allowed to access billing? So then I need to switch that. Another thing is when you guys create an account for a user, if you guys are subscribed to e-filing, make sure that you switch to all so that the new paralegal can also file forms online. If you leave it as none, they can't, even though you're paying for e-filing. Same thing with reports. I want to allow them to access invoices. Maybe access an invoice or billing, but they cannot delete. See here, it says delete, create, update, delete. So again, for each of these sections or features, like case management, are they able to access all cases and create new cases? Can they delete a case? So again, this is where you can customize the access rights. Let me know if you guys have any questions about this. Let's move on because we have a lot to cover. But again, at the same time, I'm going to take more time explaining each item. And if we don't have the time, like I said, download my PowerPoint because I put all the links that I'm talking about. If you guys notice, if you download the PowerPoint, you can click on departments or case processes, users, and it's going to show you a video or a step-by-step instruction article. Okay. All right. So now case processes. I always say this is like the brain of the system because, again, you are organizing based on your needs. Each office works differently. So when you have a process, you can rename it, you can rearrange it, you can delete. Let's say I don't do civil cases, so I'm just going to delete. I want to create a new process because maybe we want to use it for family law or personal injury. We have clients that use it for other cases, not just immigration. So when you customize a process, you can say, for example, for this adjustment of status, these are the forms that I need. and I can add or remove. Let's say for an adjustment of status, I am not an attorney and I want to delete a form. So then I will just click delete. Okay. Um, Again, you can customize all these elements, the process steps, the task, the documents checklist. Every process, in this example, an adjustment of status, has all these elements. So when you guys create a new case for an adjustment of status, you know exactly which forms you need to complete. So this is kind of like the paralegal cheat sheet. They know exactly what forms, what steps to follow. I like to customize my steps or my tasks so I can show them both English or Spanish. And I tell them exactly not only what they need to do, but also how many days they have to complete it. And if I want them to get an email reminder, they can do so. Now, for the documents checklist, it also helps me to share this with my clients. Hey, I need your passport full color. I need your certificate, right? So you have that ready. Um, Happy Friday. I'm reading a question. It says, is there a way to limit a caseworker's access, or is this only an option for users? Well, users are caseworkers. So caseworkers, when you create an account, you're going to click add caseworker, and that's the user, the paralegal or the attorney, and you can limit the access. Let me see, I'm going to launch a poll. How many of you are new? Give me 1 second. Let me know if you guys have access to the admin portal. Thank you for voting. It looks like we've got the majority of the participants voting. Thank you so much for confirming all of you have access. Okay, there's another question. It says, if you don't create an account and pay for the license, what do you mean? No, you pay for the license because you're creating the account. When you don't click here, create account, that person cannot use the system. So there's no charge or fee for a profile. That could be for the attorney only. Just the general user is not going to access the system. So they can't, there's no access. I don't know if that makes sense. Only when you pay, you create an account, and that's when you limit the access. I'm reading questions. Got it. Okay. You're welcome. All right. So let's continue. Let me know if you have questions about the processes. Now, the categories. Categories are, again, an option that you can customize when you create an account. Oh, sorry, when you create a case, you can select if it's family-based, consultation, pro bono, again, different types of categories. And that's something that you would customize here. You can delete, rearrange. It's really up to you. And I always say, take advantage of the fact that you can customize the system. The more you customize it, the better. This is your system, and I think you really start maximizing the investment when you customize it. Now let's talk about the templates. Templates are cover letters. You can use it for motions. You can use it for email address. Emails. So we're going to uh, give me 1 second. I'm going to launch another poll. I need to check something. And in the meantime, let me know how many of you have actually customized your processes before we continue with templates. Sorry about the delay. Give me 1 second. My screen stopped sharing. And let me stop the poll. Oh, not yet. Oh, wow. I'm impressed. So that's the reason why we're here. So that we can learn how to customize a product. It really makes a difference. Let me tell you what. Let me stop. Give me 1 second. I need to stop sharing this and then here we go. Okay, let me tell you why it makes a huge difference. When you are creating a case, it's going to ask you what process. Imagine if you waste time every single time you're going to scroll down to find the process that you need. So that's the reason why I recommend that you keep this short and sweet, like exactly what you need, so that you can just click and go. So that's why we recommend that you customize the processes. Let me take you back to that screen. Let me make sure that you guys are seeing it. Good. Okay, so let's say that I do, I don't know, like naturalization cases. So I'm gonna search here on the top right. I'm gonna look for that case, and it looks like it's all the way at the bottom on position 105. See on the left? Well, if I click select move to, then I can pick move this to number 1 and click OK. Now this naturalization process is going to go all the way up, and oops, and then I can just rename it. I can customize. Let me make sure that this is enabled. This is US immigration case. I don't know why it's a 7. This is obviously our testing site. And this is where I can choose what forms do I want, what steps, etc. So once I have the process the way I want it and I enable, then once I am ready to create a case, I'm taking you back to the caseworker, by the way, the caseworker portal. Once I click create case, that naturalization is going to be enabled and I can just click and go instead of scrolling to search for it. That's why I recommend that you customize your processes. Now for the letter templates, most of you have templates that you stored in Outlook or Microsoft Word. This is where you're going to copy paste them, but keep in mind this is an HTML editor, not Microsoft Word. So it behaves differently. Maybe the icons are different, but it's going to make a huge difference once you create an article or a template or cover letter. Let me show you an example. I have this email in Spanish when I'm sending a new questionnaire or form with my logo, and I want to populate the date, today's date, and I put year so and so. So I want the tags to populate information in this message. How do I insert the tags? Well, there are two ways. Either you select the tags from here. How did you get the logo at the top of the email? Well, my logo, I can copy paste it in the message, or you could also use this icon right here that says image, if you have the URL for that image. Sorry, I didn't see your, oh, someone's raising a hand. Está levantando su mano, pero no puedo quitarle el mute. Si me puede escribir. If you can send me your message via the chat so I can read your question. Anyways, yeah, that's how you can do it. You just copy paste the logo, or you can use this for the URL, the image URL. Now, two ways to enter these tags. You can either find it here, which is, by the way, alphabetically order. So I can scroll down to search for the F, or like, I usually recommend using the individual client because it could have been alien or beneficiary. So the individual client is technically this person that you, when you created an account, sorry, let me take it back. When you create a case and you select the main party, remember how if you're new, if you haven't created a case, I apologize. I'm just assuming that you've done it before. But when you created a case, and that you have to choose what's the main party or the main role who are you are representing. So this is the individual person. regardless if I call Francisco alien or beneficiary or she's a petitioner, whoever is listed as the individual, that this is going to be the person that you see here, Valeria. So when I want the letter to populate with that person's first name or date of birth, or so I can use this tags, this menu right here, or my advice is to use from the caseworker portal, you can use the tag helper. And the tag helper allows you to search a lot easier. For example, I can search, give me the first name. Oops. Give me the first name of the individual. So I can find the tag and I can just copy, go back to the other tab and paste it, which is what I have here. The individual client's first name, it will populate here. Let me show you an example of that letter, that cover letter. When I go into the case under the letters, I see it right here and I can preview it. So now the logo, the date, the name, that's how this works. So these tags to me is like a traffic officer who's directing you go here, you go here. So like make sure that you select the right tag for the right role. If I put petitioner and I don't have a petitioner, or I put beneficiary and I actually have an alien listed as a party, then it's not going to work. That's why I want to make sure that you understand the difference between those roles. Anyway, so those letter templates you can utilize if you send an email from here. I can just click email and the client will think again I'm sending it from my regular email, and I'll just send the email from here. It actually works because then you keep a copy. So for whatever happens, you have proof. Hey, I did send you an email. If you go to logs, there's a proof of that. Let me quickly do it. If I say send this to the petitioner, well, my assistant, the client, and maybe the husband. Okay, those are my recipients. I'm gonna send this, maybe add an attachment, an email. So if I go to my logs, here it is. It you even have a timestamp. So the system always keeps track of all these emails that you send, and then it tells you the recipients, who sent it. Again, nowadays you have to protect yourself and keep as much evidence as possible. Just, the logs are going to help. And if you don't want to see those logs, you just hide them from here on the top. Okay. All right, let's continue. Custom fields. All right, what are custom fields? First of all, let's understand system fields. If you go into the profile, you should see you've got fields like first name, date of birth, phone. These are system fields. But what if I want to ask additional things like, how did you hear about this law firm? Are you tech savvy? Best way to contact you, blah, blah, blah. So if I want to ask additional questions and I want to have a place to store the data or the answer, those are custom fields. So you need to create your custom fields from the admin portal. If you go into your admin, you should see client versus case custom fields. The difference is these are at the client profile, these are at the case profile. And the difference also is that if I create a questionnaire, I cannot include case custom fields. I can only include client custom fields. How did you have multiple names to choose from in the to email field? When I was sending the email for my documents and letters, I selected my template and I clicked email. There is 3 dots on the right hand side. Just click on those 3 dots and then you can choose the recipients, more than one. So just select the boxes and then you can, if yours has only one, it means that you're probably under the the client. Well, interesting. Check your case parties, because if the case party is only one and the case worker is only one, then that makes sense that yours is only one. The reason why mine shows, let's do it again, multiple options is because she has tons of members that I have linked. See, when I go to the three dots, these are the clients. In theory, if you see here, you can search for other caseworkers, or if you click at the bottom, you can click to search other clients that are not listed. So maybe that's what you need to do. These are just the family, just I have all these family members linked to my clients. That's why you see, and then these are the caseworkers that I have linked to this particular case, these two. All right. Next, okay, so we were talking about custom fields. Custom fields, the way again I like to use analogies to learn is a bucket. I put, or like a recipient, like a container. So I'm going to put all this data into this bucket. If it's the salary, if it's religion, social media option, what's your full name in native alphabet, where am I storing this information in this bucket or custom field? So when you add a custom field, there is a technical name which cannot contain spaces, something like last underscore arrival underscore date. But the title of the custom field could be, when did you last arrive in the US? So that would be my actual custom field. And of course, what type? I'm asking for a date. I could be asking for a text. Now, keep in mind, text is just limited. If you want a space for an explanation or more text, more characters, then do text area. Other than that, and then text is for like name or again, the religion, or Boolean is this little square that you can click on, and the drop down menu. Of course, this is self-explanatory. So I'm going to say this is an individual custom. It could be both, but mostly it's for the individual, and then select the type of field and click save. That's how it works. You eventually have your multiple custom fields. Oh, you're welcome. Categories. Well, I remember years ago, we didn't have this option to create categories. I always recommend clients to speak up and give us your feedback. If you notice there's a question mark on top that says feedback, say something. If you like it or not, say something so that we can make it better. Years ago, we had all these custom fields all grouped in one. Let me show you. Something like, uh, trying to find the ones that are uncategorized, like these. Okay. When they're not under a category, it's a mess because they're all together. So it's better for you to create a category like this. What are the funding types? 2000, 2350, I don't know. These are just examples. What is the, trying to find another one. Like this one. What is the best way to contact you? That's a category. And these are the custom Boolean fields. So if you want to group custom fields by a category, you just go here under categories. You create the category, which is best way to contact you. Ooh, I typed best nest. Happy Friday. I need more coffee. I always say that. Okay, here's the category. Best way to contact you. So you're gonna create your category, and then you're gonna group the custom fields by category, and it's a lot easier to find them. In fact, you should also group categories by different views. Um, See here on the top, it says view all. Well, you can say, give me just the ones related to immigration clients only, or give me marketing slash customer service fields like, are you tech savvy? Best way to contact you? How did you hear about us? So these are just, again, custom fields that you can add so you can ask additional questions to your prospects or actual clients and provide a better service. And you can group them all together, all these different categories in a view. Trust me, it's a lot easier to find things. And you just go to view and group the categories here. Another thing you should know is that system custom fields, if you go to the general info, you can add your custom fields to the system general info section. What does that mean? When you open an account under the general info main page, if you scroll down past the system fields, then you can see your custom fields. That's how it works. That's a lot easier for me to just ask these questions instead of going into the sidebar menu and selecting custom fields. All right, enough of custom fields, or maybe not. I just have to cover one more thing. How do I map them to the forms? Believe it or not, it's doable and it's really easy. Let me give you an example. There's a question that says, when did you become a legal law firm permanent resident? That's a question on the N400, or maybe on the latest version that I remember. So I want to create a question that's allowing me to ask that maybe in a questionnaire, when did you become a legal permanent resident? And I want to transfer that into the actual N400. So let me show you how to map it or connect it. You're going to go into the admin under File Form Custom Data Population. And you're going to add the form. Keep in mind when there's a new version like these, we're going to let you know, hey, there's a newer version available. Because if you mapped this DS156E and now there's a newer version, you have to remap it again. That's the only disadvantage. So let me search for the N400. I'm going to select the form. And I'm going to search for the field that I want to customize. And again, bear with me because this was the new version, but I think this is, yeah, this is it. See where it says number 7. In fact, you can tell because it's red. I've already mapped it before. So what I did, I clicked on this icon and I said, for that client custom field called PR date, the permanent residence date for the alien, and then I click OK. Let me try to do another one. I think on page 1 it says that if you want to change your name, your current legal name, other names you have used, I mean, this actually populates already. If you try to map it, it's going to tell you something like this. Customizing the field might prevent the automatic data population. So just don't mess with that because it already works. So you don't want to. I think this is what I was talking about. Question 3, would you like to legally change your name? See, if I had a custom field that says new legal name request or whatever, you can map the last name, first name, and middle name to that form. Okay. As long as you have the data in the system, meaning this information has data, I mean, this custom field has data, when I go into the form, it will populate. Let's take a look. By the way, there's no save button. Once you link it or map it, just close it and let me show you how it works. Let's add quickly an N400. And let's take a look. Although, let me make sure that she's the alien, which I don't think. Let me select her. I always joke and say these red buttons are your best friends because they save you so much time. I can just click and go. All right, let's take a look. Page 2. See, it looks purple because that's how you can tell that this has been mapped, but it populates the information that you have in your custom field. That's the form population, the form custom data population. And remember, this is being recorded. I'm also showing you guys, where's my PowerPoint? Here. I'm also sharing this PowerPoint presentation that you can click on, and it has the instructions on how to map these fields to the forms. So let's talk about how do I create a questionnaire that includes these custom fields, and then I can ask the client, hey, what's your full name in native, native alphabet. When did you become a legal resident? So I can add those questions too. Let me know if you guys have any questions at this point. You can message me. Let me see if I have any poll that I need to also ask. Did you guys know about this feature? Did you know that you could map a field to a form? And I get it, some of you are new, so that's why you probably didn't know. Okay, so let's continue. Thank you for voting. And now let's continue with our presentation. So how do I create my own questionnaires? Well, again, everything that has to do with customizations is from the admin portal. So from the admin, you're going to click here, custom form templates. And the custom form templates, it's not questionnaires, it's intake forms. So click on intake forms and take advantage of the ones that are in the system already. If you want, you can just make a copy. Unless you want to start from scratch, then click on custom intake form. But if I click on system intake and I want to use these, like, for example, I always use the general information. I'm just going to make a copy. I'm going to change the name of it and I'm going to call it pre-consultation intake form. I want to change the header and change it to something like very simple, like welcome. I want to put that center, maybe small, large, so I can change the way this questionnaire looks like. I want to remove questions, so maybe I don't care for their maiden name or title. Just basic, very, very basic questionnaire. I don't care for the day phone number or evening or fax. So again, I can remove on the right. I can click on the little pencil to edit the description or edit the question, the name. Like this, once you're done, click save. And be careful when you click on the X because there's no warning. You delete that and it's gone. So it's annoying. Maybe I want to change it to what's your full name and save it. See, I'm just modifying the question. I could also rearrange. Maybe I want to put the cell phone here after the gender. I want to put the email address as well over here. I don't know. So you guys can change by also dragging. If there is a field, I'm going to say like this one, documents. Instead of 56, I'm going to click on the pencil and change it to number 5 and click to save. Why? Because that way I don't have to drag it all the way from the bottom. By changing the location, it goes to number 5. And then I can also modify and say something like, please upload all the documents we requested. Upload your documents here. Or so again, this is just to give you an idea how easy it is to modify your questionnaire. On the left, you could add additional questions. So this is where the fun begins. If I say, I want to ask them a yes or no question. But again, I don't want this all the way at the bottom. I want this maybe in position number 6, and my question will be, I always use this example. If you've been here in my webinars, you're probably tired of my examples because I don't have time to make up. Well, let's use that other one. Are you a legal permanent resident or uh, okay, if they say yes, I want to ask them my follow-up question. When did you become a legal resident? Permanent resident. Okay, so that's going to be my yes, no question. And then my no question, maybe I just leave it like that. Or if they say no, are you interested in your green card? Or are you interested, blah, blah, blah. Again, please bear with me. I'm just improvising that. So I'm going to save that. And then see, I set number 6 and then it's right here. I can move this to a higher position by dragging and dropping it. So it's up to you. Again, you can customize these. When you add a question, such as this one, the next step is to map it. Now, before I go there, let me know if you guys have any questions. Notice that we have other templates, like I want to ask about their parents. I want to ask about their previous, it's called repeated sections because they might have more than one entry, other names, more than one previous address. So that's why it's repeated, because they can click add more. I could ask them for, provide your last 5 years of previous addresses, the last 5 years only. So I want to keep it like that. When you ask, for example, for like their children information, maybe you don't want to ask for everything about the children. I just care for if it's a daughter or son, stepdaughter, like I don't care for their children's maiden name or title or preferred name, or see, I can just remove the unnecessary fields so that they can just respond to what's important. I don't care for the emergency contact, maybe their social, citizenship. Again, I'm just keeping it super, super simple. The education field, the status, that's it. Maybe their address, and that's it. So once I have my questionnaire the way I want it, I can map it, meaning, remember I said about like those traffic officers where I'm directing traffic, but that's basically it. I am mapping. If I said, are you a legal permanent resident? Where in the system do I want this information to be stored? Do we have a system field under general info or biographic, or these are the sections in the system. So it's important that you understand where in the system are you saving this? Where is this located at? Like if I'm asking for what's your full name, it's under general info. If it's orange, it's because you haven't mapped it yet. So this question was a custom field. So I'm going to go client custom field and I'm going to map it. Remember the one that we have for the PR date? So I'm just going to, I think it was like, no, permanent resident. Yeah, it was like a permanent resident date. See, I have to know the custom field. One thing that I like doing is opening multiple tabs at the same time. So I like to open another tab for the admin to double check the name of my custom field. So client, I could swear that it was just like PR underscore date. Yeah. Okay, let me see why. Oh, I see why. Because this is a date and this is a text. That's probably why. So I would have to use text here instead of date. Let me change it to text so that it works. By the way, to refresh and save time, switch to fields and then switch to mapping. You see when it says please wait, it updates. And now I can map it because it matches. I wasn't able to map it because it was considered a date field and this is a text field. So that's how I was able to resolve it. Just change it to text. I don't have a custom field for this, so I'm just gonna copy and paste it. Are you a legal resident? And my question is gonna be legal resident, yes or no. So my drop-down menu, or I can just leave it as text as well. Although I think the drop-down menu also works. Again, I go back and forth, fields, I switch back to mapping. That's how I refresh and I am able to search for it. Legal resident, yes, no. I can even, oh, that wasn't it. It was here. Okay, so I'm asking, are you a legal permanent resident? And I am connecting that question to my custom field that I just created. And the last one, it says, are you interested in a green card? So I'm just gonna copy, paste it over here, and then Call it green card, yes, no. Text. Although again, it could be Boolean, yes, no. Go back, fields, mappings. That's how I update. You could also click save and continue, but it's faster that way. And then just search for it. Green card, yes, no. As you can see, you can make these questions required so they can't move forward without answering, but that's what mapping looks like. And then I can also translate my questions. I can enable or disable the translation and then choose what languages do I really want. I would select, I don't know, Russian, Spanish, and Japanese, just randomly picking. If I preview the translation, then this is how it would look like in Russian. And then I need to review, see, and submit. So review, scroll down, and submit. It's just to make sure that the translation it's okay. Even though I don't understand Japanese, I will submit. And if I want to make this questionnaire pretty and nice, like I want to add under the options, I want to add my logo, I want to number the questions, I may want to add like a header or lines or a submit button. You can even make these questionnaires, your contracts, by adding an electronic signature. So let's preview. This pre-consultation questionnaire looks like this. Again, see, for example, the instructions are too close from my question number 1. What I would do is add under the layout a space. I need that number 4. So I go here and put vertical space, number 4, save. Let's preview. See, now there's like a nicer space between these two. Anyways, unfortunately, we have to review the language because why not? Let's submit, submit, and submit. Okay, so now we can save our pre-consultation intake form. I'm going to save and close. Ideally, if that questionnaire was related to a matter, if it was like a specific questionnaire for additional questions for the naturalization case, then I want to go into my processes, locate the process naturalization, and link it to the questionnaires list. So if you notice, each process has, again, a checklist for questionnaires. So I can say, if this was a naturalization questionnaire, let me add, and I think it's going to be right here, pre-consultation intake form. And then I add it. Let me know if you guys have any questions at this time. How do you change it the other way instead of changing it to the text field? What do you mean? I think you're referring to the intake form, right? Let me go back to it. Are you referring to when I was mapping it? Like if I say this is a text, what's a good one? Like this one, it shows us a list. Maybe in my custom field, I don't have the options for all these like single, married, divorce. Like, so maybe I want to just add a text. You can change it from here. Although you know what? This is, I picked from this option on the left. I would just copy paste like marital status number 8, right? So I go text number 8 and I paste it here. If I want to change it to text instead of like that drop down menu or instead of Boolean, instead of dates, that's how you can change it. Usually, if you click on the pencil, this is where you can modify it, but it depends. Like if it's a specific one, just like we saw with the list, you have to create a new one. See, I have the new one that has text type, and then I'll just get rid of the list. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me delete or close without saving. Yeah, when I couldn't map it. I said it was because exactly. So what I did, um, I went instead of changing the custom intake form, I changed the actual field. It used to be a date field. It used to be a date here. And what I did, I changed it to text. That's all I did. So what if you wanted to change it to date instead? It's not going to be able to map. The problem with, again, if I create a custom field and the questionnaire is expecting date, I'm sorry, text, it has to match because once you get the questionnaire back and the field is not the same, it's not going to save the data. So it has to match. Otherwise, it won't let you map it. Just as you saw earlier, it wasn't letting me map the field. Alrighty. I knew this was going to happen because I'm taking more time to explain things instead of rushing through all the material that I have. But that's better for you guys to understand all these little tricks and shortcuts. And it also allows me to answer your questions. So how do you get the date field? You don't get a date field if it's not a date in the questionnaire. That's why I had to change it to text. If it's a custom field that's matching date in the questionnaire, then yes, it's okay. In this example that I was using, I picked text, and that's why I had to change it. I don't know if that is confusing you even more. um, okay, let's continue. Another feature that will help you a lot is custom form defaults. Every time that you open a form, and again, it has to match the new version of the form. So every time I work on a form, I want the form default values to be, for example, the N400. Every time I do an N400, I want all these questions to have the answers already marked with a no, 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 no. So it's easier for me to switch a yes if applicable than having to click no for every single client. So I recommend that you guys utilize this feature called form default values. And then just again, keep in mind when there's a new version of the form, you have to re-add the form values to the new version. The document repository is where you add documents like maybe a questionnaire cheat sheet like a PDF that has instructions or maybe a template that you want to share with your staff. So this is kind of like cloud storage in the cloud storage. All right, so types. When you guys create a case, remember I said that those drop-down menus could be customized. It also applies for when you create a note or a reminder or give me 1 second. Let me know if you guys can hear me fine. So if I add a note, it's going to ask me what type of note. So this drop-down menu for the type of notes, you can customize it here where it says type of comments or type of reminders. I highly recommend that you customize these drop-down menus to make it your own instead of using a generic, a very general category. Okay. All right. So let me see if, give me 1 second. Smart alerts. Okay. Smart alerts, all of you should have access to that module. These alerts help you to add a pop-up window when there's like an important announcement or you want to add that pop-up window at the client or case profile, especially if you guys have billing in your package. Give me 1 second, it's taking long to load. Question before, because we're running out of time. How many of you have access to custom reports in your package? so I know if you're not sure, you can also vote. The majority of you say yes, and I will cover it. If you have to disconnect, you can disconnect because we do have the majority saying either you're not sure or yes, you have it. Okay, great. Let me, I don't know why it's not loading. Let me go back. Can you guys still hear me? In the meantime, let me know if you guys have any questions at this point. Okay, let me close this. Thank you so much for voting again. All right, it looks like it's still thinking. I don't know why. Let me close this and see if I can open. That's so strange. I do want to go over the resources and support. You should be able to hear me fine. You will have questions. That's very normal. We want you to please contact us. You call us Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Pacific Standard Time, except on holidays, or send us an email. If you have questions, you can also send us an email. That's our email address. On your home screen, there's a technical support option where you can also, as I said earlier, send your feedback. We have the user's guide and these trainings that are free every Friday except on holidays. We have a podcast and a Facebook page where you can ask questions and interact with other users. We have our YouTube channel called Cerenade Academy that we recommend you subscribe to. And this is a page for a did you know? Some of these areas of the system that you're probably not aware of, you can click to learn more, such as e-filing or how to import data from the CBP, appointments on calendar, how to connect with Outlook or Google Calendar. And these are the upcoming trainings for the month. So we recommend that you click to register. I hope that you learned something new. If you have to disconnect, let me know if you can hear me fine. It's said that I lost connection. Can you guys still hear me fine? I was saying that if you had to disconnect, and I was the one who disconnected. I'm gonna stay here for a couple more minutes, but for those who have to go, I hope that you learned something new and we appreciate your time. I'm gonna stay here for a couple more minutes for those area. Now I can. Great. Yeah, I don't know why it disconnected me. It says now my network connection has been reestablished. Okay, good. Anyways, for those who have to go, don't forget to download my PowerPoint presentation so you can click on the links and have a great weekend. All right, so I do have a question that someone asked. Let me respond to it. And it was, how do I change the date? Okay, let's go back to the admin. I don't know why it's not loading. And I did a speed test and I do have a good speed for the internet. Here we go. So when you create your questionnaire, let me add one so I can show you. Here on the left, you can pick, if it's a text, you can change date. So all you have to do if you want to use a date custom field, make sure that this says date. The problem that I encountered earlier is that I was using a follow-up yes or no question, and this is text. So because my question was, when did you become a legal resident? I had to change my custom field from date to text. That's all. To answer your question, if you want to create a question like this, when did you become a legal resident and it's a date, then you should be fine. It shouldn't give you a problem. Ay, de nada. Bonito fin de semana. Gracias, un placer saludarlo. Hasta luego. Mi pregunta para hoy era en los steps, en las actividades. Ok, si gusta puede hacerme la pregunta. So there's a question for process steps activities. Um, Basically what it means is that when you have a process and you have those tasks, each of those tasks may have activities that you can automate. So if I say I have an adjustment of status, these are all the tasks that we have to do. Well, how about if it's time for me to, I don't know, like send a questionnaire? I'm trying to find, I'll just add one. Okay, let's say that I want to, I'm gonna insert one here. Send questionnaire. Okay, so I want to send the questionnaire, but I don't want to do it myself. I want to automatically trigger that action. So what I do, let me move this over here. Let's say the first thing I'm gonna do is send the questionnaire. So once I click activities, I can add an action or activity, and it could be any of these. Send a questionnaire, send a message, a text message, send an email, add a note, or add an expense. So I can basically tell the system when I do this, when I start the step, when I complete it a few days before or after, then do this. That's what an activity is. Let me read the question. No me deja crear cuando voy a enviar un email al cliente. So it doesn't let you. Please send the email. No me deja guardarla. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so maybe now you're saying that the activity was send an email. Make sure that you enter the description. If it wasn't letting you save, it's mostly because you didn't have the description. So let's put here, sending email. The email is going to be, I don't know, welcome. Now, maybe the reason why it's because the from, you have to use tags. I'm gonna email you these tags if I don't remind me, okay? But these from or to tags, you can't know obviously who are you gonna send this because you don't even have the client yet. So you have to use a tag that says individual's email. So that's what happened. And I'm thinking that we already have them in the tag helper. Let me double check. So if I say individual email, like this one, I'm gonna click copy and paste it. Oops. And I want it also to be from my email, so current user email. That would be the from. Although I think it's only allowing me to choose info at, oh yeah. Okay, because it's gonna be an activity, I can't choose the sender. It has to be the info ad, which is, just so you know, the alternative email that you have. So maybe the reason why you can't is because in your admin, you have to go to your application settings. Vaya aquí donde dice SMTP mail server settings. Y este email tiene que estar ahí. If you don't have an email here under general email address, then that's why you probably cannot pick from this drop-down menu. Dice, en la parte de from no me deja colocar mi correo. Ya, no le va a dejar colocar el correo porque solo puede ser este email que está aquí. en SMTP mail server settings. Ponga ahí, por ejemplo, le podemos poner el mío, vvargas@cerenade.com. Let's save it. That would be like my general email address. And then here, when I say send email, ay no, mire, me sigue saliendo el mismo. Let me just refresh, I guess. Send email. Ahí está. I had to refresh. That's the reason why. So if I want the email to go out from my email, then I have to go to SMTP mail server settings and change it from here. The reason why you couldn't do it is because you didn't have anything. So that's why. Anyway, so you guys can use activities to automate. Gracias. Un placer ayudarle. The reason, what was I saying? Anyways, yeah. So if you want to automate things and save time, I highly suggest that you guys use those activities. Well, before I go, I wanted to cover reports for those who are interested. This is actually my favorite feature. Custom reports, in my opinion, saves you time, and time is money. So I can add a report from scratch, or I can use a report template that we have. For example, show me my new clients, new prospects reports. I want to see every time that we have a new client this month or maybe this week, and it has to be maybe a specific category just for naturalization clients or for green cards, or but show me the name, show me the notes. Maybe I want to add those custom fields that we talked about, like how did you hear about us? uh, I think it's called source. Yeah, I want to know not only the client name, how did they hear about us, and when was this client created? Look at it's giving me the name. I want to put client, general info, creation date. Okay. All right, let's test it. This week we only had two clients, these two. So maybe I do need to change this to this year so I can see more, although this year has only 10 days. Okay, let me, um, between, this is better. So between last year and today. Trying to see if I have, okay, perfect. This is what I wanted to show you. Some of them do have like the source, like this was a referral, this was because of Google. When did we get the client and who's the client? Anyway, so imagine if you create a report like this and you schedule it so that you can save time instead of generating the report or sharing with your staff. You can schedule the report and add it so that, hey, we want to know how many active cases do we have for each form, or how many cases per week, cases by attorney. I want to send this as Excel on a daily or weekly basis starting on Monday until the year 2030. And I'm gonna send it to my assistant or my supervisor or whoever. Like, I don't have to pay for their license. I'm sending this information. Another example is send the invoices that have a pending balance, send that on a daily basis to my accounting department so they can help me call these clients that still have a pending balance. I don't have to give them access to eIMMIGRATION, but they'll get this daily Excel spreadsheet with the information they need. So I recommend custom reports so that you guys can save time and money. All right. Um, Alrighty. Well, let me know if you guys have any questions. I hope that you learned something new today. Remember to schedule your private trainings if you haven't done so. There's a lot more that we didn't get to cover today. But again, I rather go slower and show you in detail because again, there's a lot to learn. Maybe we split this in a part two admin portal training. And again, if you have any questions, contact our team so that we can assist you. Thank you, everyone, and have a great weekend. Bonito fin de semana. Hasta luego.